99% of Muslims, obviously we all say Bismillah, but never really tap into its real power. So inshallah, in this video, I'm going to teach you the real power behind Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. We say this before we eat, before we drive, before we work. But what if I told you that the Prophet ﷺ, he literally said, this is a hadith, any action not begun with Bismillah is cut from barakah, which means, if right now you're saying Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim and you're doing things, but yet you're not really seeing the barakah, you're not really seeing blessings in your results, you're not even seeing results whatsoever, this shows that you're not really saying it properly. So hopefully, inshallah, in this video, I'll teach you exactly how to truly activate it, so that whatever you do after you say it will be filled with barakah, inshallah. So after going deep into what Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim truly is, and why does it really start in every single surah except one, I realized that this is literally spiritual technology. It's a cosmic password, and you'll see exactly what I mean by the statements. So the first letter within this is not just a letter. It's, I'm using beautiful words. It's literally divine engineering. So the first letter within this beautiful statement is what? It's the letter Ba, which is Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. So I did a bit of research, right? Before I even tell you all the research that I've done and the contemplation that I've done, because by the way, most of my videos is just pure contemplation, bro. Most of it. I'm not a scholar. I don't have degree in like dissecting the science of religion or the Quran and all that stuff. But I believe that the Quran, just like Allah says, أَفَلَا يَتَدَبَّرُونَ الْقُرْآنَ أَفَلَا يَتَدَبَّرُونَ الْقُرْآنَ, which means that, do they not contemplate over the Quran? Which means that Allah wants you to come and contemplate the Quran. And that's exactly what I'm doing, which means that this is not just limited to people of knowledge, as they say, which is the scholars. It's not just limited to such people. It's open to everybody. So everybody from whatever way of life, in terms of whether you do science, whether you're a doctor, whether you're an engineer, whether you're a scholar, doesn't matter, whoever you are, you can come and maybe see some beauty based on whatever knowledge you have within this beautiful book. So this letter Ba right here, this alone contains the beginning of all secrets. I found this statement right here. Some people say this is from Imam Ali, but some people say this is from Ibn al-Arabi or al-Ghazali. We don't know, honestly we don't know, but it's still extremely beautiful. So it says, I'll be basically translating it from Arabic to English. So it says, know that most of what's within the heavens and the earth is in the Quran al-Karim, within this book. But everything that's within the Quran is in Surah al-Fatiha. But everything that's within Surah al-Fatiha is within the Basmala, which is the Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. But also understand that everything that's within the Basmala is in the Ba. But also understand that what's within the Ba is within the dot that's underneath the Ba. And then it says at the end, and I am that dot, which basically implies everything within the heavens and the earth, it all goes back to a dot. Now they're saying this is the dot of the letter Ba. But just keep watching so that you understand exactly what that statement means. So again, all of Quran is within Fatiha, all of Fatiha is within Basmala, all of Basmala is within the Ba, and all of within the Ba is within the dot that's beneath it. And then eventually he says, I am the dot beneath the Ba. Let's think about this a bit. Now the entire Quran, which is the divine speech of Allah, begins with a single letter, which is Ba, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Anytime you recite Bismillah, but under that letter, it has a dot. Now this dot in Arabic is known as a nuqta, which is a dot. Now before we get into what this whole thing really means, let me fill you in on a little bit of quantum physics and a bit of cosmology as well. So in quantum physics, in cosmology, there's a concept of singularity. Now this concept, this is a place where time, space, and matter, they collapse into a single point, which means that before all creation, before atoms, before the stars, before everything, there was a point of infinite density and potential. So the physicists, they call this the cosmic singularity. But now I'm telling you, in Islamic spirituality, this cosmic singularity is the dot under the Ba. So just like all reality emerged from the singularity, well, all divine knowledge within the heavens and the earth emerged from this dot. From this dot right here. Now understand, what I'm saying right now is just symbolism. Don't be taking everything I'm saying literally. This is just symbolism. If you've seen a projector, a movie projector, when you look at the screen contains everything. It contains the characters, contains the trees, contains the everything. Like everything within the movie is in the screen. But what's allowing the screen of the movie to be seen? Well, it's the light. This is a very similar concept. So just basically imagine that this right here is the whole world, and the whole world is coming from this singular point right here. This is the symbolism that we're dealing with right now. And listen, this is very important for you now understanding the big power behind Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Because just understanding that everything goes back to one singular point, that's the idea I'm trying to give to you. Not the idea that, the ba itself has power. It's the idea of singularity. So just like the dot can become infinite letters, from this one dot, you can change it up so it can become infinite letters. The singularity contains infinite cosmos, which is creation. Or simply said, consciousness is what's creating reality. So Allah chose this exact letter to be the first letter in the Quran because it beautifully symbolizes the beginning of all creation. From that one dot, everything is coming. It's almost like, it's just so beautiful when you just look at it. And then it also represents pure potential before form. So before the form comes, there's an essence behind. And it also represents the divine essence in concentrated form because everything goes back to this. But it also represents pure consciousness before becoming reality, which means this is the light from where the universe unfolds, which means that everything in the universe goes back to one source. And once again, that's the main idea that I'm trying to make you understand, which means we're starting from a place that is beyond time, beyond shape, beyond space, and mirrors this thing that we call, it's not nothingness, it's unmanifested reality. Now the beautiful thing is that if you know Arabic grammar, but the letter in of itself is harf jar, which basically means in simple English, it links action, which means that if you're going to be saying be, you're basically linking what you're about to say with the next word. So for example, when we say Bismillah, it means with the name of Allah or by the name of Allah, which means that this letter is a bridge. I'm showing you right now why it's so beautiful, just from the first letter, bro, the first letter. So because the ba contains the dot we just talked about, we're basically saying this act, this intention, or word, whatever you're about to do, when you say Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, is powered through the name of Allah. Bismillah. So everything you're about to do right now is powered by that name, which means whatever we're about to say is coming straight out of the divine. Whatever we're about to do is all coming back straight to the light of Allah. We're going back to the primordial, which is the very first point, from which all creation became a reality, from which all creation unfolds. Now listen, when Imam Ali is saying, because this is the part that's going to blow your mind, when Imam Ali is saying, I am the dot under the ba, he's basically, it's been already 8 minutes and I'm still explaining this. He's basically saying, it's not a statement of shirk. Don't be thinking of this as like, he said a statement of shirk. He's actually embodying the truth of Tawheed, that the human being, when the ego is annihilated, when identity is stripped away, when the form is gone and you're back to just only your true essence, you become a mirror of divine reality. And that's what fana is. It means from the first letter, we're already aligning ourselves with Allah. We're already being connected to Allah. No other letter could have done this, by the way. And that's why Allah chose this as the first letter. Beautifully chose this as the first letter, which means our actions, they're supposed to align with the divine flow. It means that we're going back to this one singular point that created everything. It means that now we're invoking divine energy before we even continue reciting everything else that we're about to recite. And that's so beautiful. Now, what's even more beautiful, bro, is that when we say Ar-Rahman, Ar-Rahim, both words, they came from the root word Rahim, which means womb. Now, why is that? Why is it a womb? A womb is the vehicle into which creatures, they come into physical existence, which means we just connected ourselves, when we say Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, to the one that created reality himself. Remember the dot that we just talked about? Everything's coming from one singular point, from one source. And that's so beautiful because it's like you're connecting yourself not just to Allah, but to the one that created mercy itself. So it's almost like you've removed everything, all form, all essence, all identities through the ba, and you've gone back to the nuqta, the dot, which is one singular point. But now who are you attaching yourself to? To Allah. Ar-Rahman, Ar-Rahim. Now what do these two names mean? Ar-Rahman means the macro compassion. That's what fuels existence itself. This is for all beings. So whether you're a believer or whether you're a non-believer, you're still under the mercy of Ar-Rahman. This you could say is the quantum field in quantum physics. This is literally the quantum field. That's why Allah says, my mercy encompasses all things. Everything. So everything is swimming in this divine mercy. That's Ar-Rahman, the ever-present matrix of mercy holding up every single atom. So nothing exists except that it's already swimming in this divine mercy. So Ar-Rahman is universal. Now what does Ar-Rahim mean? Ar-Rahim is personal, like targeted. Ar-Rahman is like the sun when it shines on everyone, but Ar-Rahim is like the ray that finds that one flower. So it's personal. So understand that this mercy, you were born from it. This mercy, you'll be carried by it. And this mercy, you'll return to it. So the next time you're saying Bismillah, Ar-Rahman, Ar-Rahim, you're basically erasing all of the reality that you've created previously, and you're going back to oneness. And once again, which exact oneness? The Ar-Rahman, Ar-Rahim oneness. The oneness that's filled with love and mercy. The oneness that's allowing everything to exist. And you know what? If you say these statements, but you still have hate for the creation of Allah, you still have hate for your brother, then you're just worshipping the letters, bro. You're not really worshipping the one. You're not really worshipping the creator. You're just worshipping the letters because you're saying them fast. But then when you recite these with true connection, now you're going to start flowing with the will of this being. And then in this case, the will is what? Pure love. Because whose will are we flowing with? Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim. Very beautiful. So again, once again, when you say Bismillah, you're erasing all the realities that you've created previously, all identity that you've had previously, and you're going back to oneness. And exactly which oneness? Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim oneness. Now this oneness existed before the pen was even commanded to write. Before kun fayakun. How do we know that? Well, the Prophet ﷺ told us the first thing Allah created was the pen. But Allah was there, which means that His mercy was there. So what did the pen write? It wrote everything that would ever happen, which means that the command to write, it came after the will, which means there was a realm before even like the pen was created. There was a realm before words, before writing, and before even the statement kun. And now this, we go back to the symbolism that I'm telling you. This is what the dot represents. This dot right now, reminder, is symbolism for non-being, which is pure potential, which is proven through quantum physics. The Arabic says that this is the fixed reality, which is the essences of all things suspended in divine knowledge, which is not yet manifested. So it's not yet into reality, which means when you say Bismillah and then you say it with full presence, then you're reaching back beyond your current self itself. So you're going back before you even existed, bro, beyond the person that you've become, and speaking from a place where you were still known only to Allah. How do we know that? Does man not remember that he was created, that we created him before when he was still nothing? When you were still nothing. So again, the symbolism, bro, the symbolism with what the ba is representing. We're going back to this oneness, to this pure potential where nothing was created, going back to the point where no one ever knew you except Allah Himself, meaning unmanifested essence. And that's what the dot is representing, which is beautiful. And I'll tell you exactly what this means in a bit. Now there's a beautiful ayah right here that says, the seven heavens and the earth and whatever is in them exalt Him. They all do tasbih to Allah. And there's not a thing except that it glorifies Him with praise. But you don't understand their tasbih, which means that everything's already connected to this one source, to this divine being that's encompassing everything. And I'm telling you that because if everything is already in dhikr, like the mountains, the light, your cells even, it means that when you say Bismillah, and you're going back to this one singular point that everything is doing dhikr towards, which is Allah, you're synchronizing your action with that cosmic dhikr. So you're basically saying, let what everything I'm about to do right now harmonize with the song that's already being sung by all of existence. all of existence. And that's why when Prophet Sulaiman, when he sent his letter to the queen of Sheba, the queen of Saba, the letter started with Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Because he wasn't just writing words, he was placing his will with the will of the divine. And what happened after? Everything within the universe, it moved to his favor. The queen's throne, it came with him before he even blinked. Which means that everything in existence started supporting him because he went back to the one singular point. The one point that created everything, which is Allah. It's crazy, bro. And he got a whole queen to submit. Didn't submit to him, but to the one behind the name, Bismillah, ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. So this is ultimate proof right here, bro, that this statement will shake the universe. Because this statement goes back to the one that made the universe. So then how do you actually activate Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim? So first of all, still your mind before saying it. Still your mind, like empty your mind. Why do I say empty your mind? Because again, we go back to the ba, the symbolism with the ba. When we say ba, there is a silence before I say it. Again, ba. There is a silence before I even say the letter, which means that stillness. There is stillness before the sound. So don't rush it. Before you say Bismillah, take a breath, silence yourself, because the ba itself comes from stillness. And then this stillness will make you present. And this presence will give you power. It activates power. And then also visualize the dots. Now again, I posted a video on TikTok talking about this beautiful analogy, this beautiful symbolism, and then people were like, they started saying this knowledge has no basis in the Sunnah and all that stuff. I'm like, it's not, forget the knowledge. It's the symbolism behind it. Was there not a singular point that created everything in the whole universe? Was there not nothing, only Allah, and then the universe came out? That's the whole thing we're saying. Keeping that in mind, I want you to visualize this whole idea that before everything you see right now, there was one point where there was nothing here. There was not just nothingness, but just unmanifested potential, pure potential. That's what I want you to imagine. That's why the entire time I'm giving you this beautiful symbolism that this just one letter it encompasses, which is so beautiful. So imagine a single point of divine light under this ba. And this is the origin of all creation. So understand that you're not just starting, you're returning to this one source. Is it true that we all come from one source? Yes, it is. Therefore, this is true. I get. Here's the thing, bro. It's just because people, they take things way too literally and then they forget the beautiful idea behind what we're trying to say. So the third step is feel the breath as you say the ba. So let the sound come from your chest. From your chest, not just your lips, but from your chest. Feel it as a bridge between your soul and your action. Breathe. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. It's a beautiful statement, bro. Also, link the name to your intention. So ask yourself, is what I'm about to do worthy of carrying the name of Allah? And then if it's not, then don't do it. But let the action match the purity of what you just invoked. And then anchor it in emotion. When you say Bismillah, continue Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, which means that you should, as soon as you say it, you should be thinking that you're swimming in this divine mercy of love. You're swimming in this ocean of love. So you should be saying it with love. You should be saying it with awe, with surrender. Remember, empty words, they have no results. Emotion with presence, that's what's going to give it energy. And then repeat it throughout the day. Keep using it as a reset. When you're about to speak, before I even made the video, any video I make, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Before you're even about to scroll, bro, say Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Anything that you say, anything that you do, say Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Let this become your baseline state, not just one time you say it and then that's it, we're done. Also, close your day with it. I remember when I was younger, I used to go to sleep and then I just wouldn't be able to sleep. Until I learned that the Prophet, peace be upon him, he used to say, Bismika Allahumma amutu wa ahya. So I started saying that, and then immediately I would just fall asleep. And I was like, bro, I used to have insomnia, or whatever you want to call it. It would be so hard for me to sleep. I would now just say, Bismika Allahumma amutu wa ahya, and that's it. I'm done. Like I just sleep immediately. So it's very beautiful, extremely beautiful. So each time you say it like this, you're not just starting something new, you're realigning with the divine source. So this is reality, bro. This is a deep structure of reality. When you're saying Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim with understanding, You're not just starting a task, you're entering the divine script that's already running. Remember Prophet Sulaiman? Everything just came and started supporting him. And then the moment you do, time is going to start bending. Like things will just come and support you. Barakah flows. Unseen begins to cooperate with you. Because now you're not acting from ego. Remember? I am the dot beneath the ba. Which means that now you're acting not from the ego, from a state of annihilation, from a state of fana, from a state of you going back to the one singular source. So beautiful, bro. You're acting from origin, from the pre-eternal breath that spoke be, kun, from the womb that shaped galaxies, from the dot that contains everything you were ever meant to become. Remember this soup of infinite potential that contains everything you were able to become. So now you're going straight back to that. So say it like this, and then you won't need proof that it works, because you'll just become it, which is beautiful, bro. This is beautiful. Learning all of this changed my entire perspective on Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, because now when you're saying this, you're connecting straight back before creation was even here. It's beautiful. Before Adam was even here. Before the pen was even here. Just you, when Allah knew, only Allah knew you, and that's it. It's beautiful. So tell me now, does this not have real power? Does this not have real power? So now I dare you, when you say it, and the Prophet ﷺ, he says, any action not begun with Bismillah is cut off from barakah. When you say it, this is supposed to become a reality now. Because he also says, إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ. Actions are judged by intentions. And then if you don't have a proper intention, then your action is invalid. It won't even have barakah in it. So now, when you're saying Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, and you're having such intention, you understand that you're saying a statement that's beyond this universe. You're saying a statement that's beyond time and beyond space. A statement that Allah Himself almost like created. Well, obviously Allah created everything, right? But a statement that's extremely magnificent, extremely beautiful. Now you understand, like, this is not something small. This statement is not something small. So anything you do now, and you say it, you'll even know that this statement has power. So now whatever you do, in of itself will have power. So, hoping this video was helpful, and hoping that now we truly start saying Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim with true intention. So if this video was helpful, Habibi, just let me know.